Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Let's fight. Let's fight. Let's fight. Wherever you guys are joining us from tonight, we are privileged that each and every one of you are here with us this evening. Sit back, relax, folks, joining us on Instagram, on the Tube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever else you're joining us from this evening, folks. Welcome, 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 welcome. That bell is for you, by the way. That bell is for you. Great to have each and every one of you here with us. We're fired up, folks, ready to go. And we hope that you guys are as well. Great to see each and every one of you folks on the live. Share the live. Those folks who are joining us on Instagram tonight, great to have each and every one of you here. You're going to want to strap yourselves in because there's a lot the people doing. And we're going to continue to confront it. Good, folks, as I said, we will continue to confront it. But good to have you here as you come in, folks, with your chips, with your bacon, saltfish, whatever you're having tonight. We are more than happy to have all of you here. Share that live, folks. Smash that emoji button. Good to see you, people. How are you doing, good folks? I am happy that each and every one of you here with us. We are going to ensure that we share the live stream. We smash that emoji button as well, good folks. Good to have all of you. Is it Wayne Liddell? We see there. Is it you, Wayne? Yes, it's you. Yes, it's you. The folks who are joining us on Instagram tonight, you're going to want to sit back. We got quite some information, quite a lot of information to share with you folks. Melissa joining us on Instagram and Nikki joining us on Instagram. In Context GY joining us on Instagram as well. We see you. We see you. We see you. We have a way. You don't worry about it. We have a way, and we want to welcome all of you to our broadcast tonight. We want to welcome all of you as you guys share. You know, when you come in, folks, those of you who are joining us on Instagram for the first time, we always ask that the folks share the live, that the folks smash that emoji button for us. It helps to keep us going. Yep, it helps, it helps, it helps. In every little way, folks, it helps. Good to have all of you here, and we're going to ensure as we begin it, we share to all our social media platforms. Good to have all of you here with us, as I said, folks, and we're fired up. Joylyn Cook, Everett Small, we're ready to go. Good to have you folks here with us. Those guys who are joining us on Instagram. Fires, accidents, death at the Surrey Public Hospital there. A lot to cover, folks, a lot to cover. You're in the right place. If you wandered in here, you joined us on Instagram, for instance, Kay and Nikki, Nikisha Savory, rather, and all the other folks, Melissa, all the other folks joining us. You're in the right place. We now carry our stream through to Instagram as well, and we are delighted to have you folks here. If you know our broadcast, good folks, oh Lord, they can't go to have these here. Yeah, here it is, here it is. If you know our broadcast, good folks, you almost know where we're going next, and we always start, this is where you are, folks. You're in the ring with us. If it's fine like I'm explaining too much, it's for our beautiful folks joining us on Instagram for the first time. If you're now joining us, welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Here is where you are. Fantastic program, fantastic political commentary. What's happening is the pulse, folks, on what's happening, what's trending. Share that live, folks. Smash that emoji button. You're in the right place. That is what I'm telling you. You're in the right place. Let's put that behind me now, and let's move on. Next place we go, folks, is the opener. We always start with something light. Well, this is politics. So you got too many light things, but we always try to start with something nice. Pull it in front now. That's the opener for you folks. And there is where we are going next. You know, our girl accuses the PPP throwing Mohammed's under the bus. You remember that Mohammed story? Quite recently, a lot of sanctions rained down on the Mohammed. Quite a few sanctions rained down on the Mohammed. Folks, and MP Creda MacDonald, General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union, Creda MacDonald, says that the PPP threw the folks under the bus. Take a look, take a listen. The opener, folks, the opener.
Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald accused Vice President Barra Jagyo and the People's Progressive Party of throwing the Mohammeds under the bus.
After these people have been so good to you, I mean, they're your friends. They help you. Why you didn't tell them if they were doing something wrong, that man, look, y'all doing something wrong. Don't do that. Huh? Y'all didn't tell them nothing. And then you enjoy the benefits from it. Plus, Jaguar was going, Jaguar, look, you got so many names, boy. You name Jaguar, you name liar, you name this, you name that, you name a wife abuser, you name all kind of things.
The Mohammeds have been sanctioned by the United States. This effectively cripples the many financial operations owned and operated by the Mohammeds.
You tried to deny that the Mohammeds did not support your party. They did not give monies to your party. And then you turn around after the people bring the thing out, you turn around now and say, oh, yes, they might have made donations to the party. Yeah, Jack, do you easy.
She said that one should say to a friend that he's wrong when he is.
But I suspect that Jaguar feels threatened that Mohammed's the younger Mohammed might want to run for president. He might form a party and run against them. So I feel that he feels threatened by that. That Mr. Mohammed's Azruddin, that he's getting too popular. And you notice anybody who starts getting popular around Jaguar, he's looked to cut them down,
He recalled how Jaguar treated those who threatened him. They included Ralph Ramkaran.
Yeah, apologies there, folks. Apologies there. Welcome back. I was a little hasty there. Welcome back, good folks. That was the opener. Do you think the Mohammeds were thrown under the bus? Do you think so, folks? As we said, we like to start light around these parts. And as we on the PNCR and Member of Parliament, Coretta MacDonald, what she said there, the Mohammeds being thrown under the bus as a little cherry on top of the cake for the opener. Here is Sherwin Holder, the chairman, re-elected chairman of the People's National Congress Reform, telling us that the Congress there, is it the 32nd biennial Congress there of the PNCR, highlighted the support base of the PNC. Take a listen and take a look.
Sherwin Holder was re-elected chairman of the People's National Congress Reform.
I first want to thank all the members who would have supported me. There were little glitches in the process throughout the day, but I think in the main, the will of the people prevailed in this case throughout the election process. I think that is important for our party, that we really have transparency within these kinds of processes.
He said that the elections at Congress show that the PNCR is the most democratic party. And for the Congress, the boots on the ground policy paid off, he said.
This leader has been committed to being on the ground, working with people. I think certainly the results that we've seen here tonight is as a result of that work. He's been to every single region of this country over the last 2 years. I've been there along with him to many different communities in many different regions. And it's hard work has been doing over the last 2 years plus.
There was a commitment and a dedication by the delegates to see the election process through.
The support was overwhelming. We would have raised over and above the funds in Congress. By no means it's cheap. It's very expensive to pull off. You have to cater for all the 10 administrative regions, persons coming in from overseas. You have people flying in, scores of persons from Region 9, Region 1, people coming in from Region 7, the vast interior regions of Guyana. And it cost the party a lot to host such an event.
Then there were the volunteers.
I walked into Congress Place on Friday and I saw scores of people just working, just volunteering. The spirit of Congress was really amongst the people and amongst the supporters and the members. You saw scores of persons doing decorations, some setting up, doing carpentry work. Everybody was just busy. Congress Place just came alive during this period. I think it's something that we should really, really be proud of. I think I should thank all the donors who would have contributed.
He said that the evidence is clear. There are several thousands of people who will support the party.
Yep. That's the opener there, good folks. That's the opener if you're joining us now, and we are heading into International relations. Yeah. There it is for you. Some of what we're following around the world. Put it at the back, folks. Some of what we're following around the world. This might appeal to some of you. There's a new Alzheimer's medication that is FDA approved. Yeah, a lot of folks can get some help, and this is especially good for those folks who has who have been diagnosed with the early stages of Alzheimer's. And look, I think they're going to come and we can solve all these things. HIV, AIDS, and cancer. Now, Alzheimer's, a new medication, promising to improve the life expectancy of those persons who are troubled by this dreaded disease. I don't like it at all, at all. So good news on that front. Some very, very good news, folks, on this front. As I said, FDA approved, believe it or not, for adults with early symptoms of this dreaded disease. And eligible patients, they tell us, are those with mild cognitive impairment. You heard that? Mild cognitive impairment. And again, it's my hope that one day all of these things will be behind us, all of these things. And like the good days of the Bible, we start living to 200 and 350. Not that the one day wrong some of you all so long anyhow, but it is what it is. 200, 250. You know how it goes. Live far from some of y'all in the line. And had to deal with some of y'all for 200 years. 200 years, you got to deal with some of you. I don't think I might like that so much. It sounded good when I started. Sounded good. But good news for those persons who are troubling with this disease, impaired memory and impaired cognitive functions. Good news on that front. Very good news on that front. Folks, moving on. It's some of the other things we're following. You all know we're dealing with a lot of things happening internationally. Look at this one. This might affect some of you who are very strong on these issues. You all know Google is a good company, as some people say Google. Google is a very good company, and I use them. We use them in our enterprise here in so many different ways, whether it's your Google Drive, your Gmail, you name it, and lots of your Google Sheets and so on. Lots and lots of ways. Now, artificial intelligence, is it Bart? Is it Brent? What is it? Is it Siri? Google got their own Google got their own artificial intelligence, folks. And Google had made a pledge. This is a big company, big international, multinational company. They had made this pledge that they are going to reduce their carbon footprint, their carbon emissions. And now the company is seeing an exponential growth in its carbon emissions. And here is what Google is saying. Google is saying that this is because artificial intelligence, AI, has such a strong, strapping, robust demand for energy. That is what Google is telling us. There is such a strong demand for energy that it can no longer meet its obligation in regards to lowering its its carbon emissions. Believe it or not. And another company that is very strong on this, lowering their carbon emissions. You know which other company is that? Help me, folks. Help me. Big internet $1 trillion company. I think it says the first $1 trillion company. One of the first. You all remember that? Eva Mattis, Bantu King, Roxanne, Marcia, Richard. You all know that company? It has the shape, the logo looks like a bitten apple. Yeah, Apple. I'm giving you all the clue. Apple is that other company that has a major emphasis in reducing its carbon footprint. Well, we wish Google all the best. We wish Google all the best, folks. I think we're circling back now. Yeah, some things we're picking up around the region. We're coming into some local news. Don't go nowhere. We're coming into some local news. But first, around the region, look what Hurricane Beryl did. Look what Hurricane Beryl did in the region. Trinidad, we talked about this in on our earlier show. Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Jamaica, dodged the bullet a little bit. We got some other places as well. Grenada, folks. These folks are going to need some help. The folks in Grenada are going to need some help, and they just might have some help coming, believe it or not. But this is some of what we saw overnight as that hurricane bore down on Grenada. Take a look.
Come on, man, boy. Come on, Nelly. Hey, go for sure now. Yo, you take all now. Sterling all that. The boy
So that's some of what we saw over the weekend. This Hurricane Beryl is a Category 5 hurricane, and they've registered 4 deaths so far. Registering 4 deaths so far. And before we go from that, folks, as we turn our attention to, my Lord, to what's happening locally here in Guyana. This is the 592. This is where we get to some of the stuff happening locally. Some of the stuff happening locally, folks, in the 592. And we're learning tonight that on that front, where Hurricane Beryl, that Category 5 storm. Now, as regards that Category 5 storm, y'all making me lose my thoughts trying to follow all these comments here. 1,700 of you have already joined us 60 minutes into our program. Yeah, thank you so much for that. 1,700 of you have already joined the broadcast. Smash that emoji button for us. Share the broadcast, good folks. We're happy to have you here. Respect and manners on the local front, because on that note with Hurricane Beryl, that Category 5 storm, Guyana has organized some relief efforts. I don't think I'd ever say respect and manners to the government of the day, but there it is, folks. It's the first time for everything. Respect and manners, folks. The Civil Defense put together some relief hampers that bound for Grenada. Like I felt like I want to go down there to Carriacou and lend a hand. Y'all know how it goes, how we run towards danger. Y'all know how it goes. So kudos to the folks, I think the private sector organized over the weekend to help in this regard. And if you put up something, you have a business and you helped in some way, kudos to you. We're going to ring the bell one time for you tonight. All right, we're going to ring it twice at least, because I think it's a lot you've done here to help the good folks in Grenada. So there it is. There, I'm going to pull it even back for you. You see, that's big here, you know. Yeah, for some of you. So, folks, thank you so much for all of you who are part of that in the business community. We got to help our neighbors when we see, them, in some kind of trouble like this, some kind of crisis. We have to help. We have to help. And we're in a position now. We could help one, two. I could see some of y'all saying, I know when last to get a hand, but y'all stop that, man. Stop it. I can see some of y'all. I know when last to get a hand. 1,800 plus of you have now joined us. Roxanne Garraway, Elderly Gilbert, and Gail, and Lester, Shireen, and all the other folks who are joining us. I can see some of y'all say, it's a long time to get a hamper. It's a long time. Nice time, folks. Nice time. Nice time happening. Nice time. Look here. Anguilla telling us Guyanese no longer have to apply for visa to visit Anguilla. And the Colombians, as a matter of fact, don't have to apply either, or is it either, for this visa to travel to Anguilla. I met some Anguillans late last year when I went to Turks and Caicos. Beautiful people I'd promised to visit. Now I can. Visa-free. Fidel Innes. Are you coming along? Roxanne, Patricia, Rosetta, Sandra Hanover, you're coming along. Beatrice, you're coming along. Good people joining us on Instagram. Abby and Sherry and is it Rayster, and I see Onika and D. McKenzie, Roshana. Beautiful folks joining us on Instagram. You all coming along. Anguilla says we no longer have to have a visa from Anguilla to travel there. Come, let me go down the road now, man. Please and thank you, folks. Come and let me go down the road. Yeah, that's what's happening in Anguilla, folks. And we're going to ring the bell one time. Nice time there in Anguilla. Nice time. Look what else we're covering this evening. Well, look story here now, man. Look story here. How y'all doing? Things getting real. Things getting a little bit tingish. Look story here now. People realize it's a high-income country. We've been designated that. Is it the World Bank? Is it the International Monetary Fund, or both of them? We're now deemed a high income country, fastest growing economy, largest GDP. People not taking things just so, People not taking things just so. And today I went down to the Garden of Eden. I was looking for the trees, the apple, Adam, Eve. Didn't find any of them. I find a lot of potholes though. In Garden of Eden today, the folks over the weekend had a lot of things to say. This is what I saw when I went down to Garden of Eden. We got to be boots on the ground. We can't only stay in the air and our stops and so on. We got to be boots on the ground. I was in Garden of Eden. My God. And this is a good part of the road. This is a good part of the road. The residents protested over the weekend. They said they're fed up, they're tired, they're weary. Good night to my folks who are joining us from the Garden of Eden. There on the East Bank. If you're joining from Garden of the Eden, Marlon Lorimer, good to see you, Marlon. I ain't see you for a long time. I'm pulling back one time for you, Marlon. If you're joining us from Garden of Eden this evening on the East Bank, hashtag, that's the same street there, the same one there. Same one. People say they're fed up. They're fed up. Is it block 2, line 2, stall 2? Something like that. They said they're fed up. The road is bad and they want some relief. That's what the second dam, Garden of Eden. This is a good part of the road. We couldn't go further. We just could not. The car wasn't allowing us. I'll show you in a second what you need to get into the Garden of Eden. See the car taking, beating them potholes. So that's left, that's right. 2 y'all can't go down the street same time. That's accident waiting to happen. Folks, share the live. Smash that emoji button for us. People need betterment. Come on now. Garden of Eden is not Timbuktu. There's not Deep South. It's not in North Pakram. It's not Cato. It's not in Shelton. Come on, and this is the NDC that's responsible for that area. You see? This is the NDC street. Smooth to blood. Smooth to blood. I guess charity does begin at home. They're looking after their own street first, and maybe they'll get around there at the Garden of Eden, second dam. The folks said they need help there. The folks said the only how you really can get in here unhurt. People said the tire burst, the rim bend. Right? You need a tractor. You need something heavy duty to get in here. Rastaman said critters. Marlon Lorimer. Yeah. Marlon, good to see you there again. And Marcy and Rastaman, Patricia, Jamal Aziz, good to see you there. Saw Jamal and Babis today. Shelly and Joylyn. Good to have all of you. You see, the cars got to dodge in these potholes. And the folks said, this is the good part of the road in Garden of Eden. It's a good part. You need this is the kind of equipment, the kind of vehicle you need to maneuver that road. You gotta get some big tires. Is this kind of vehicle causing the problem too? That's the trouble here. Is this it? Oh God, like I think they knocked me down. Oh God, oh yeah. Thought about knock me down there. I kind of pull over, Weird like that. I kind of pull over. I see that thing coming there. I saw it coming. I pull over. But that's the kind of thing causing the problem. Over the weekend, folks, there was a protest there. Listen to some of what the folks in Garden of Eden, second dam, had to say about the roads.
We are here today at this community on amended for coming together to bring the situation of road and the lights. We want a new road. We want also the contract to be spread up in terms of the lights and the road. It is dark in here. It is also dangerous at night. Okay, so we need for them to come and do this road. The community is doing its part in terms of standing in solidarity, standing together for the road. All right. Come on, everybody, let's walk in now. Let's walk in and show them the road. Film the road. That's right. Yes, that's right. Yes. There you have it. Yes. Road and light. Road and light. Road and light. MBC. We need it. Road and light. Yes, road and light. Yes. Yes. The road is
year of 2024.
And carry where the
This
people.
is it. So when it rain, yes. 2024. This is the year.
Come on, everyone.
Yes.
Everyone
Road and
down.
light. Road and light. 2024. Yes. Road and light.
Yeah.
RBC. Road and light. Look. You see right here? This is? Yes. Yes. MBC. MBC. Road and light.
Yep. I don't know. You want to organize the community if your road bad, you're not getting water. And what makes this so interesting? Tion and Superwoman joining us on Instagram, and David and Sweet Shia. Is it sweet whatever? Sweet Tia. Sweet Tia, aka Muslims, joining us on Instagram. What makes it so interesting? You hear the residents there of Garden of Eden says they don't have lights in that area. The Garden of Eden power station is right out on the main road. The Garden of Eden power station, you see that bridge they have in the protester? The Garden of Eden power station right across the road. It's not too far. But I think we might got some bigger things to consider. A group, this is what the report says. I think it's Reuters. A group of fleet. I thought a fleet was a group, but I ain't selling it for profit here. It said a group of fleet. I think it might mean many fleets. I don't know. Of warships, Russian warships, have arrived in Venezuela. You think it's just a military drill happening here? In the port city of Lugaria or Lagaria. Forgive me. My pronunciation is a little off. Lagaria, the port city. A fleet, folks. Not one boat. That's next door, you know. The people who we got the border controversy with. Folks, if you're watching us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, 2,100 of you thus far, smash that emoji button. Give us a like. Hit that like button. I see a lot of you joining in. Hit that like button for us. Don't got us out here looking thin. Please and thank you. A fleet of Russian ships, warships. This is not cruise ships, you know. You're going to take a little vacation. This is warships next door. I don't think we're too serious about this matter, you know. I don't think we're too serious at all. We had promised a master plan of a public relations campaign to inform our citizens about the history of this controversy, this dispute, whatever you want to call it, to teach your kids, to teach grown people don't know all that there is to know about this problem here. A whole fleet now. We better wake up very quickly because Maduro ain't playing. Maduro got an election. Is it this month here? And he can do whatever it takes to save a rattle. Please and thank you. But this is just some of the stories that we're following this evening, folks. Take a look at this next. Pace and power to our young people. I love to see our young people who are, really involved productively with their time and their energies. Not jumping people's house, robbing people on the streets, and those kinds of things, but really and truly moving forward academically and creatively. And a bunch of young people subjected themselves to 6.5 months rigorous training, the report says, both in Guyana and Canada. And we really need this kind of training as helicopter search and rescue swimmers. Again, this is what the report characterized the training as. Helicopter search and rescue swimmers. 2,200 folks join us already, folks. And we want to say congrats to all of our young people. Continue to push yourself. The onus is upon you to push yourself, even outside of what the government might be doing. Lots of other things happening if you really want to upskill yourself. and be marketable. You gotta sit down and wait for no handout. Come on, folks. Gotta get an amen. Come on now. Don't sit down and wait for no handout. Lots of things happen out there. And if you find a program the government is sponsoring for you to get from point A to point B, take it. It's the money of the country. It's not a PPP money or APNU money or anything like that. It's the money that belongs to the people of this country. So kudos to young people who have graduated. We need this. Plane goes missing, a boat goes missing, passengers in the boat fall overboard can be found. We need this kind of expertise in our country. Kudos to them. Kudos to them. And here's where once again, it's not a real place. Look some what's happening in our beautiful country. You all know this saying, Guyana is not, it's not a real place. Who shared the life? Some of y'all just get caught up. You stop. You ain't shared the life yet for the night. And we said that's the only cost of admission, you know. We don't even ask y'all to support our program too often now. You know, but you can support it if you want to. I ain't gonna get in the way of what Jesus wants to do in your life at all. You can support us financially if you want. But the cost of admission, it's only to share the life. It's only to smash the emoji button. Y'all come here, get all the news, get all the information. You won't even share it one time. You see how some of y'all stay? You see how some of y'all stay? Oh, share the life, them. Sponsor broadcast too. You can do that. Do that as well. But again, it's not real, but here is why. Oh, I'm fed up. I tell you, if you stand up outside too long, them boys gone with you. Gone with you. Here's this young man stabbed and robbed by a gang. Here is where he was. Hold on. Brace it over. Guess where he was? I don't give you the clue. Right? Good readers, Comrade Ramjitan always said, make good leaders. Movie Town washroom, it is alleged. You think you're inside Movie Town, you're safe. Them boys outside. They're run by Lambert Street around the clock or somewhere like, I don't know what it is there. I just call in places. Right? I don't want to stereotype nobody. There's some place. Somewhere in Guyana. They are. You don't know. Why you don't know that is Movie Town washroom? This is according to the report. Movie Town washroom. Stabbed and robbed. My God. Nothing is sacred anymore. This happened on Saturday. So a gang of men punctured this young man. 7 men. The young man was stabbed with an ice pick and had to receive medical attention, robbed of his cell phone and cash. You gotta go around with your potty now. Carry your potty in your car because you're not even safe if you come outside the car. Someplace dark, you might say, well, I can go behind this tree or this post or what have you. Let's start walking with a potty now. That's why they got to build a car. Something in the seat and you could do your business there. Because you like the washrooms and safe either. And while that was happening, look at this now. And we've seen a kind of what you want a surge in criminal activity. And we're seeing that. What are Robson doing? What y'all buy Robson doing? What $1 Robson doing? Look, a businessman says, only because he had the Glock 19 pistol on him and stood his ground in Georgetown, he was able to track some guys from robbing him. A 32-year-old contractor. That's what he said. Right? He was somewhere on Irving and Foreshore Street. 2 suspects on a motorcycle approached the contractor, demanding his cell phone. They didn't demand his cell phone. They come back for the thing. That's how them boys is behave. As though they give you the chain to keep. You see the cell phone, they rob the guy in the washroom. It's their cell phone. It's just that you didn't know it. It's their boots they got on. As you Levi jeans and so on, your hat and all the other valuables you might be wearing, it's their thing to come back for. But thankfully, he was able to thwart that robbery because he had this Glock 9. They said that one of the suspects was shot while trying to escape. Yeah, you can't do the time, or you can't bear the consequences of your actions. Leave people alone, man. God. Things done tight in this country, done hard, and you working for your little thing, and them boys coming to really. I fed up with them, honest to God. I fed up with them. It's just I ain't got a Glock 19 pistol. Is a 9 mm the same thing? Is that the one I got? That being said, thankfully the man was strapped. You know, he was strapped. I don't know if Molly done pop or what have you, but he was strapped. Was able to try that robbery. All of us is so lucky. He had a 19. Is that bigger than a 9 mm? I don't know. I'm not too much of a gun person. Not too much of a gun person. That being said, we now turn our attention to the Georgetown Public Hospital. I got a friend who's working. She vexes me now. Don't like when I talk bad about Georgetown Hospital. I ain't talking bad. I just telling what the facts are. What the headline is out there. Young mother lost her life. Young mother says had severe dengue, died after giving birth. That's what they're trying to tell. I tell you all, as soon as we come into 592, it's problems. I don't even like doing it. Let me just stay in international relations whole night. 2,400 of you. The longer we are, there's more y'all fast bad. 0 points for GPHC. I know she gonna vex at me so bad. 0 points. Dengue still killing people now. Lenita Jacobs of Hampton Court Region 2 lost her life at a Surrey hospital Wednesday last after complaining of feeling unwell. 19 years old, 8 months pregnant, she underwent a C-section. The baby admitted in critical condition in the neonatal intensive unit there at Surrey. And young Jacobs, 19 years old, as I said, was transferred to GPHC. She passed away early last Saturday. Look, my late grandfather, we didn't have so much private hospitals in his time. He said every time he go to GPHC and fall asleep, he wake up, he check for limbs, make sure he got all the toes and fingers and stuff. We were coming out of this whole thing and mothers losing their life. What do you call that? It's slipping me right now. You know, young mothers giving birth. Y'all have, I know some of y'all more bright. We all went bishops and the bishops. Hi and QC and all of that. I just a flatfoot hustler that went Ishmael. Right to tell you. What you call it? Mother, y'all know this thing, man. Y'all sharp like that. Come on, Instagram people. Don't make Facebook people put me to shame. What do you call that? Mothers losing the... Marilyn Thomas says negligence. Same thing. Same thing, both all two. Where's Dr. Cummins when I need her? Where's Dr. Cummins? Dr. Cummins, help me out with some of these problems. Right? I see Glennis Caldera says condolences to the family. Clyde and everybody. It's a sad state of affairs. 19 years old. You haven't started living your life yet. Heather, your mother milk still in your face. Maternal death. Yeah. Maternal. Thank you so much, my Lord. It's that kind of night I'm having. Faye Jacobs, thank you. Maternal death. That's the phrase I was looking for. We were making some inroads where maternal deaths are concerned. Well, all these things we now got to go and work extra hard. When we return to office very soon, extra hard. We got to go and work on all of this. Good folks. The Daily Fire Report, you all ready for it? Big blaze last night at Bushlot. I was in Garden of Eden today, and then I had to head up to Bobis. Wanted to see what was happening there, and I spoke with Vintroy Jordan, who was on the scene last, and every day something goes up in flame in this country. Who's sharing the life? Like, we just need to expect it. I helping you all so much for this information. You ain't gonna smash the emoji, but some of y'all know y'all able, you know. Some of y'all know y'all able. Daily Fire Report, folks. Daily Fire Report. A number of buildings burnt. Let that happen. Vincent was on the scene last night. This is some of what he said.
Access to the fire hydrant is being gained. Something that is supposed to be readily available and accessible rather at the turn of a valve, but unfortunately, this is what attention because, as a matter of fact, it's blackout in the community at the moment, and so there's no access. So operation just ceased to utilize this fire hydrant. Something that we have been clamoring for quite some time, in especially these communities. They're pumping from the sideline canal, and here is the pump. But right next to the pump, it's another fire hydrant. This is another fire hydrant right next to the pump. Look at it. But again, they cannot access either of the two that is in the pump. Look at it. It is open at the moment and no water coming out. Look at it. Them fireman have got them before there. This fire started early in the evening, just a small blaze. But here we are now. This is part of the damage, as you can see. All this section, but 3 hours last year, been completely damaged. And these are the firemen that work here. This is the fire moving west of Bushlot. How long now since the fire? So the residents saying 1 hour this fire started, and the building took 1 hour to burn completely, and the fire service did not provide assistance. That is according to one resident. But as you can see, the fire is moving rapidly. Access to the fire hydrant is being gained. Something that is supposed to be readily available, accessible rather, at the turn of a valve, but unfortunately, this is what had to be done. Because, as a matter of fact, it's blackout in the community at the moment, and so there's no access. So operation just ceased to utilize this fire hydrant. Something that we have been clamoring for quite some time, in especially these communities. They're pumping from the sideline canal, and here is the pump. But right next to the pump, it's another fire hydrant. This is another fire hydrant right next to the pump. Look at it. But again, they cannot access either of the two that is in the pump. Look at it. It is open at the moment and no water coming out. Look at it.
Yep. So that's some of what took place in Bushlot last evening, and I really wanted to catch up with Vince Roy today because I heard him coughing. I was wondering if it's the smoke inhalation or was dengue or what have you, and wanted to get a sense of the aftermath and the damage and the scale of that. But in that blaze last evening, Carl Passat lost his life. In that blaze, destroyed 3 buildings, scorching another, millions in damage. Thoughts and prayers. And this family, and today, as I said, not only was I in the Garden of Eden, I was also in Bushlot, and caught up with my my parliamentary colleague, Vince Roy Jordan, who is the MP from Region 5. We talked a little bit about this fire and the aftermath.
What was most alarming last evening was the fact that when I came on the scene, the Guyana Fire Service was here, the men performing their duties, but having a lack in equipment and the ability to access fire hydrants. Hoses being damaged, fire trucks not functioning as they should. And I'll say why I'm saying the fire truck not functioning as it should. Where I live, I can hear when the fire truck leaves the fire station because it is adjacent to adjacent to where I'm living. I heard this fire truck leaving that location and going to somewhere, not necessarily knowing that it was Bushlot. But when I came to the road and I saw the blaze from where I'm living, you could see it from in the skies. I said it had to be Bushlot where this fire truck was going. But the only thing that is functioning properly on this fire truck is that of the siren. You can be at Bushlot and you will hear the siren way in Lovely Last. And it takes about 15 minutes for the truck to pass. And you know how emergency vehicles normally move. But apart from that, what was very much disturbing is to see that our firefighters hadn't any tools, or sufficient tools, I should say rather, to access two fire hydrants that are in very close proximity to right where this fire occurred. One is just about 3 or 4 lots away from here. The other is to the other end of the village where they access water from the main, one of the canals, sideline canals. When I worked at GWI Sherrod, we not only had to ensure that those few fire hydrants that were in place were serviceable, but we had to ensure we do, a routine maintenance so that in the event of a fire, we were prepared and the Guyana Fire Service would have had a functioning fire hydrant or hydrants across the region. When the coalition government took office, the priority of then CEO, Managing Director, Dr. Richard Van Charles, was to ensure that across the city of Georgetown, that we installed additional fire hydrants. I think it totaled to somewhere about 600 plus. And then we moved to the other outlying regions and we placed similar systems in the regions. When the PPP took office, the cry of fires every single week, we had fires. We couldn't go a proper 2 days without a fire. And for the fact that we knew that fire was coming so often, we said to them, we need to have fire hydrants across the regions, especially where our schools are at, where hospitals, public buildings generally. So they moved to install these 2 fire hydrants that you saw them operating last night, or trying to gain access to operate. Simply because there are 3 schools within close proximity to the first one, and the public health building and a gas station where the other one is. But what is alarming is that when we come to a situation as this, where we had a fire, we could not have accessed the fire hydrants. Apart from that, the hoses that were being used, 70% of the water, as I would calculate it, was being thrown away on the road. We had a wash bay, as a matter of fact, on the road. Cars were being literally washed as they were passing or parked, because the hose had as many holes as 11, I think I counted, and it was spraying all over the place. When the men tried to do their work with what they had, it could not do the necessary work. If you look right next to me here, the pole is there are 2 poles. One was burning, and the fire hose couldn't reach to the top of that pole to out the fire, because it lacked the necessary pressure. The pressure was not reaching to the top. I was so sorry for these men that at one point I said, it is better they pack up and just leave the thing to burn. So just operate as though no fire service responded. But what is important today for me to state is that the PPP government must never get away in trying to justify the reasons why these businesses and these buildings were destroyed. They must never be allowed to get away with what has happened here. It is their incompetence, it is their negligence, it is their ability, it is their lack of ability rather, to see and to be able to assess what are the needs of our communities. I spoke to the Minister of Home Affairs about the fire service and the truck. As a matter of fact, they had 2 trucks. Now they have one, well, 3/4 truck, sorry. They have there. And it is months that I've spoken to them about it, because the fire service is not far from where I'm living. One morning I came out of the street, and as I was driving, the truck was running into the fence. No brakes on the fire truck. What nonsense is that? You cannot have an emergency vehicle without brakes. And it is all because they are not putting the necessary resources where it ought to go. And so we see nice buildings and nice infrastructural works being done across the country. But the needs in healthcare, the needs in agriculture, the needs in, like we see, fire prevention and action to remedy same. And many other things, they're not putting the money where it is needed and the resources where it is needed. The men did their best, to my estimation, the best that they could have done on the ground. But without the necessary resources, they could not have done better than what they did. And so I believe the government should be called out frontly and very early in this, because I know they're hiding from the fact that it is as a result of the lack of resources and all that to the fire service that the buildings had to burn. Because when the initial building, the first building started on fire or was ablaze, it took almost, I stood here, when I came to the scene, I stood here and watched for almost an hour where the last building, or up to the point when the last building was destroyed.
And we heard you asking people too, and they were confirming it took more than an hour.
Yes, it took about that time. And it is simply because the equipment that the men had could not do the job. They came as is necessary, they responded on time from my estimation. But when they came and the water ran out, because there is no open source close to here, except for the fact that the fire hydrant is there that, doesn't function, they couldn't do anything. They had to wait on Gaisuko to respond. They had to wait on the one from Mahaika to respond. They had to wait on the New Amsterdam tender to respond because...
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Because the one that was here could not have completed the job. And when those responded, Sherrod, they come with some long hoses full of holes.
MP Vincent Jordan, how many buildings were burnt here?
Well, completely, you can see the 3 buildings that were burnt and one scorched. The buildings occupied the national, Naliko Nafico Insurance Company. There was a pharmacy here. You could get your medical supplies. There was a jewelry shop. As a matter of fact, we're standing right where the entrance to that. A jewelry shop. There was a bicycle shop. There was a cellular phone outlet. All those were destroyed.
We heard also there was a fatality.
Yes, there was a fatality. My very good friend, whenever you pass, you would give him a nice call and so on. Brother Carly, he passed as a result of this. I was told that he was in the building at the time. I cannot confirm that. It was just told to me. And as a result of him being trapped some parts in the building, he couldn't get out. And so he died and, was badly burned.
Yeah. Good folks, that was Fitzroy Jordan, Member of Parliament. Correct is right. And I saw some of you talking about the fire hose and the truck and so on. Is a 3/4 truck. The only thing on the truck working is the siren. A number of things, a number of... Yeah. Well, that's happening on that front. You got all those challenges to the Ghana Fire Service, Region 5 Fire Service. ExxonMobil telling us that $20 billion of the $30 billion investment has already been recovered. The question is, how come you got more money in your pocket? How come the hose ain't looking better than a car wash? How come you got better fire tenders if they've already recouped so much of their money? Maybe the folks at Instagram know. Altia, JFBJ, Shamsi, Vashanti, Bev Smith, Ramona Kant, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you guys brighter than me, I don't know. Just maybe, y'all know. But the Matson, how come them fire trucks looking the way they're looking? The Mats not Matson. We start with an opener. We end with a close, it's like a no-brainer. So good to have had all of you here. We start with an opener. It goes to show or to say we got to have a closer. Mr. Norton this morning on a radio program was addressing the whole notion of a consensus presidential candidate. Now that has been up in the air of recent. We are in election mode in a sense, but Mr. Norton, leader of the PNCR, addressed this issue. Take a look and take a listen to some of what he said on this broadcast with Bobby Vera. Try to remember the exact name of the radio station that Bobby manages and owns, but take a look what Mr. Norton said.
I heard, and I think I'm right, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you were open to a consensus candidate. The Congress recently passed a motion where you, or in fact, I think if my understanding is right, anybody who became the leader should be, as the largest group in the coalition, should be the person who is selected as the presidential candidate. But in statements of recent, you said you're open to a consensus candidate. Could you elaborate on that for our viewers and listeners?
Okay. The PNC elected me overwhelmingly. The motion says that the leader of the PNC is the presidential candidate. When I say I'm open to a consensual candidate, if perchance we have to choose a candidate from the PNC, I have no problem with us having a consensual candidate. For instance, somebody like Carl Greenidge, if we think he is good to run and win, we have no problem with him as a consensual candidate. And so I believe that as the largest political party in the coalition, the PNCR is entitled. Which political party will have more than 90% of the support of the opposition would give its power, for the want of a better word, to 5 or 10%. It makes no sense. So when I speak of a consensual candidate, I'm speaking of a consensual candidate as it relates to the People's National Congress reform. I don't see us as a political party given to a party that has not ever in this country gotten 15% of the votes, the presidential candidate. What are we saying to our supporters? That we are supporting you, for you to bring somebody else and give them leadership? We have worked and mobilized. The hard work we would have done will have to be done to the benefit of the PNC.
So therefore, if from within the coalition, and not just the PNC, but generally the coalition, there is someone who's identified, and this is generally, if someone who's identified as being capable, would you agree? And I'm speaking now not from the PNC as you explained a moment ago, but from the coalition, because obviously you would like to keep democracy at its highest and at its best as you go forward. Are you open to someone within a structure of a party or within the structure of the coalition to come out as the viable candidate?
I am supportive of anybody coming out as a viable candidate, but there's an assumption you're making. First of all, intellectually, the PNC has people with capabilities, including myself. Some people attempt to portray the PNC as if it has no intellectual capacity. I can say this to you. I'll debate any one of them intellectually. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say about it is this. There are some false views of what who a presidential candidate should be. You know, I remember when we were having the presidential primaries in the PNC. Somebody said to me, oh, they couldn't support Greenidge because he's too short. Oh, he's ugly. And I'm like, hi, this thing is about competence, ability to run a country. Who cares if you're 6 feet and incompetent? Who cares if you're 6 feet good looking and you don't understand politics and you're going to be outmaneuvered? Who cares if you are 6 feet good looking, whatever, and then the first pressure that comes from the PPP, you resign and run? This question of politics, you have to have an appetite for it. And therefore, all of those talk to me, we will have to set out clear criteria on what constitutes a presidential candidate. And then there's this talk about electability. Any person with the basic competence, etc., with a proper campaign machinery, electable.
Are you prepared to have a chat with the newly elected leader of the AFC, Mr. Nigel Hughes, going forward?
I think we must. I don't see no reason why we shouldn't. I'm prepared to talk with anybody.
Yep, that's what he said. Welcome back, folks. That was the closer. We got a little icing on the cake for y'all. Mr. Norton is fresh off of a huge win at the 22nd. I got it right now. The 22nd. I checked it during the insert playing there. The 22nd annual Congress of the People's National Congress Reform, the Alliance for Change, my party of choice, recently held its 8th annual Congress as well. And leader of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Nigel Hughes, I was talking about poverty, that he's ready to tackle poverty. And he says also, he is not an aristocrat. And that is the icing on the cake tonight, is the closer to the closer. Here's Mr. Hughes talking about being ready to tackle poverty. He's not an aristocrat, despite what some of y'all think.
The best one I heard 2 nights ago on the show with David Hines is somebody said, I'm an aristocrat, therefore I can't lead. Well, I want them to know that I'm the most aristocratic working class man on the street. And where were they every time the poor people get shot? Every time they take advantage of the indigenous and don't want to give them their lands? I want to ask them, have they spent time with the people on the ground? And I want to let all of us know that going forward, we will have to go into the most depressed communities, not to visit like some tourists, but to spend a night in those communities to understand what it is that poor people are going through. I give you my commitment. I will sleep in the poorest of poor communities in this country overnight. Because it is one thing to read about poverty on a piece of paper. It's another thing to wake up in the morning and you got to go outside at 3 a.m. into the outside latrine, worry about the snakes, come back inside, bucket bed, and then walk 3 miles to get to work. Unless we feel it, we will not know it. Poverty is not an academic exercise. Poverty is a lived experience. And if we are going to speak with anything looking like a semblance of decency, we have to understand and feel it. So I want to encourage those of us who are going to be going out to persuade people to vote for us, that we have to spend at least a night or two in the extreme positions of poverty in this country, so that when we talk about how we are going to eliminate poverty, we understand the fundamentals of what has to be eliminated.
All right, folks. There it is. You got to know what you're talking about. We got to know what we're talking about. That being said, folks, that being said, that's the closer. That being said, that's our time this evening. And that's our program. I want to thank all the folks for joining us. Those of you who joined us on Instagram, those like, is it Collie Moore and Belle and Jermaine and Yonette, Shawnette, Ramona Can, Bev, Vishti, I see Shami, Shamsi, all the folks joining us on IG, Instagram tonight, the folks who joining us on YouTube and Twitter, Alison Cortez, the folks who joining us on Facebook, the Blue app, and all the other places. Thanks for joining us this evening. That's our time, that's our program, and that's the last bell. There it is, folks. That's our time. Stay safe, please, and thank you. Stay safe.